close-up look at weather conditions here in western New York. The wind chill, incidentally, 13 degrees over the last 5 days. We're told that there was a total accumulation of 16 inches of snow. Buffalo won the toss. They defer. Jets will receive. So Mark Sanchez makes his return.
Yeah, and he didn't find out, Marv, until Thursday morning around 11 a.m., right before the walkthrough, that he was going to start. He didn't take any reps with the first team on Wednesday. He feels good about the plan, and the good news for him, it's not a very complicated defensive scheme that he's going to see here today against the Bills. Essentially, they play a handful of fronts and coverages under Dave Wannstedt.
Back deep for the Jets, Joe McKnight among the leaders in kick returns, averaging 28 yards, including a 100-yard return for a touchdown against Houston. That was back in October. Lindell with the kick for Buffalo, and it's a short one. McKnight is submarined as he reaches out to the 25. May have lost the football. He was down. So the Jets will hold on off that 18-yard return. Take a look at the Jets offensive line. They had that brutal game last week against San Diego, but right tackle Austin Howard provided problems for Mario Williams back on opening day at the New Jersey Meadowlands. And will we see more from Jeremy Curley in the Wildcat coming off that 42-yard pass to Clyde Gates last Sunday against the Chargers? Jets start out at their 24-yard line. The running back is Sean Green.
What is it?
And it's Green straight ahead. Picked up 4 on the play. All right, Buffalo's defensive unit, major disappointment. And Rich, as you touched on, Mario Williams has picked it up toward the end of the season. The linebackers, the rookie Nigel Bradham has been a bright spot. And in the secondary, the rookie out of South Carolina, first-round pick Stephon Gilmore has shown promise, and he has started all 16 games. Jets go with Green and the fullback Lex Hilliard for the second down and 6. And again, it is Green. Picked up about 5 on the play. Sean Green averaging just under 4 yards per carry, and is closing in on a second straight 1,000-yard season. But the problem, one of many problems for the Jets offensively, they do not have a running back that can explode.
No, not a lot of big runs really from any of these backs. You look at Sean Green, they're averaging less than 4 yards a carry. It's been hit or miss really for the Jets.
Third down and 1, and the fullback Hilliard battling. And let's see where they spotted. He did pick up the first down. Lex Hilliard with a rare carry, only his 8th of the season. He's a 4-year player out of Montana, originally 6th-round pick of Miami.
Well, really no secret what the Jets want to do. I mean, they've got a quarterback that's a little shaky, and Mark Sanchez. He's in a very unusual position, Marv, and the fact that he's never really come back from being benched. And so I think you want to take the ball out of his hands a little bit. I think you want to run the ball against a Buffalo defense that hasn't shown all season they can stop the run.
And the word fragile has been used when people talk about Sanchez. Sean Green nearly broke it. Big hole set up, and then Sean Marion, who's playing for the injured Mark Anderson, made the stop. He picked up 8, so Green has gone over the 1,000 mark, which doesn't mean the same as it did in the past when you play 16 games, but it still is a milestone.
Yeah, it is. It's an accomplishment. I think it shows talked a little bit about durability and toughness, but this is a team that has played from behind a lot this season, and it's hurt their running game.
Second and 2 off the pitch. It is Green. Went to the edge and hauled down after a 3-yard advance. Now, the last time we saw Mark Sanchez at quarterback, that was the Monday night game in Tennessee a couple of weeks back. A win would have kept the Jets in the race for a wild card, but Sanchez with the 4 interceptions, lost that fumble on the bad snap in the final seconds. Sanchez leading the NFL with 24 turnovers. 3 wideouts now. in this Jet alignment. And Sanchez with the throw that is off the mark. Intended for Clyde Gates, but a penalty marker is down.
Defense, 12 men on the field, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Let's take a look back at Week 15, the game against the Titans in Tennessee.
Yeah, just too many turnovers, and they came at critical times in the game, and a couple of them in the red zone. Mark not feeling the safety, late down the middle, not holding the safety with his eyes, and again, just some poor decision-making, which has been a problem for Sanchez most of the season. 9 games this season with at least 2 turnovers, and we've talked about this the last 2 seasons. 50 turnovers from Mark Sanchez, the most in the NFL.
Bilal Powell now in the backfield and brings to the 45-yard line, picked up 3. The Jets have dropped their last 2, 3 of the last 5. They've lost twice by as many as 21 points. They've lost by 30. They've lost by 34 at home to New England. Yet the defense, because they have had a number of low-scoring games, is overall ranked number 7.
Yeah, the defense has played better, but it's Tony Sperano's group on offense that's really struggled. You see the numbers there, 30th in total offense. It's not good enough.
2nd and 2, and Green has picked up a first down. And for the Jets, yes, another week of drama that was highlighted by a report of the New York Daily News that Rex Ryan would welcome being fired at the end of the season if Jets owner Woody Johnson would not commit to investing in the offense, in other words, making major changes. Rex said that was not accurate, immediately called Johnson to tell him that. Reportedly, an emotional Rex Ryan talked to the entire team the other day and said that the report, which was based on anonymous sources, were all lies. Again, it's to the ground, and a nice run here by Powell. Has the first down, gets inside the 30, goes for 11. You can hear the boos from this Buffalo crowd directed at the defense. George Wilson and Aaron Williams combined to get to Powell.
Yeah, 8 straight runs for the Jets to start the game, and you can't be good on defense if you can't stop the run. It's been an issue all season long for this Buffalo defense. We talked about dead last in run defense, giving up almost 150 yards a game on the ground, and that's one thing Chan Gailey has never been able to get straightened out in his 3 years as a head coach, the defensive side of the ball.
First down at the 29-yard line, and Powell this time is wrapped up. Stopped by Mario Williams.
You know, a lot was made about the amount of money they spent on defense. It wasn't just Mario Williams, it was Mark Anderson. They went out and drafted Stephon Gilmore. Look at that, points per game, they're 31st, and rushing yards a game, they're dead last. It's hard to win games. I mean, when you have to go out and score 35 points every week on offense, and that's what Buffalo has had to do to win games.
Second down and 10, Sean Green returning to the backfield. Sanchez will throw, fires downfield, it is incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Jeff Cumberland. Getting back to the Rex Ryan quotes in the New York Daily News, the Daily News reporter Manish Mehta says that he fully stands by his story.
I think it's a bunch of hearsay. I don't question whether Rex said something like that in frustration. The bottom line is the guy wants to coach this football team, but they've got to get things straightened out on offense, especially at the quarterback position.
Third down and 10. Deep drop by Sanchez, and his pass incomplete, intended for Braylon Edwards.
Well, this is actually good protection for the Jets. And, you know, Mark Sanchez, you've got to be able to make these throws. Look, step up in there. You've got Braylon Edwards on a crossing route. Put it on his front number. At least give him a chance to make a play. He misses too many throws. The completion percentage, you go back and you study Mark over the last 3 seasons, just too low. The accuracy and the decision-making at times, and it's his footwork. I really believe a lot of it can be traced to his footwork, which is really erratic at times.
All right, here's Nick Folk attempting from 47 yards out. And it is good. So the Jet drive is stopped. They settle for the field goal and a long-range shot by Folk. It's had the football for 6 minutes, 12 plays, 47 yards. Turns out to be the 9th straight game without a touchdown on their opening drive as Nick Folk kicked the 47-yarder. And a short kickoff played by Brad Smith, the former Jet, brings across the 30-yard line, 26-yard return. So here comes Ryan Fitzpatrick, who, like Mark Sanchez, has had his troubles. Orchard Park, New York at Ralph Wilson Stadium as the Buffalo Bills start out. Just across the 30-yard line, C.J. Spiller, who has had an outstanding season, is the feature back. Play action, and Fitzpatrick able to complete at the marker. Stevie Johnson with his 74th catch of the season, and that is good for 11. A look at the Bills up front. Well, at left tackle, Cordy Glenn, the rookie out of Georgia, second-round draft pick, has played well. Backs and receivers, Spiller averaging 6.5 yards. That's an incredible number, 6.5 yards per carry in taking over for the injured Fred Jackson.
I might give it to him every play if I was Ryan Fitzpatrick. Well, he's had a really special season, and as you watch him, he's become a more patient runner.
Spiller, a 3-year man out of Clemson, had a huge day against the Jets on opening day of the New Jersey Meadowlands. And this is Spiller. This time he is stopped. Jets defensively with Muhammad Wilkerson making it back from a concussion. There was some questions about his playing here today. The linebackers, Garrett McIntyre starting for the injured Brian Thomas. In the secondary, Antonio Cromartie is headed to the Pro Bowl for the second time in his career. Made it earlier as a member of the San Diego Chargers. Look at that helmet of Garrett McIntyre. Needs some sticker repair there.
Knocking it right off.
Second down and 9. And this is Spiller. Out of busted. And he's forced out of bounds by another Pro Bowler, the strong safety, LaRon Landry, but it's a 7-yard pickup.
Well, I like what they do. They put a bunch set to the left, and they want to get C.J. Spiller matched up. And so that's actually a really nice tackle by LaRon Landry. You look at the yards per carry. We talked about it. That's a pretty impressive group when you look at Barry Sanders and, of course, Jamal Charles and Jim Brown. 6.5 yards carry this season. He's really made people here forget about Fred Jackson.
Third down and 2. Tashard Choice, 5-year man from Georgia Tech, has come on to spell Spiller, and here come the flags. Referee today is Terry McCauley.
52. Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 52. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's on the inside linebacker, David Harris.
Well, mistakes this year have really hurt Rex Ryan's football team, whether it's penalties or missed assignments, mental errors. They've not been good enough to be able to overcome them. And then, of course, they've had to deal with a bunch of turnovers offensively and some inconsistent play at the quarterback position. And that really spells a 6-9 record for the Jets. If you want to find Antonio Cromartie today, just keep an eye on Stevie Johnson. I mean, he's going to travel with him all over the field. It's going to be a good matchup to watch in this game.
First down for Buffalo. C.J. Spiller and Corey McIntyre in the backfield. Is Spiller cutting left. Flag thrown. Spiller running it out of bounds right at the first down marker, but there's a penalty flag in the backfield.
Holding. Offense number 70. 10-yard penalty.
So they bring it back. It's on the center, Eric Wood, as we go to our studios in New York. JB and Boomer.
Nice start for the Chuck Pagano return.
Remember, Houston's playing for the #1 seed in the AFC playoffs right there. Touchdown pass after a 13-play drive by Andrew Luck to Colby Fleener. Colts lead 7-0 over the Texans.
Back to Marv Albert and Rich Gannon.
All right, JB, Boomer, as you can see, the Texans would clinch home field advantage with a win at Indianapolis. Tashard Choice returns to the backfield, a 1st and 20 for the Bills. 6 minutes to play here in the first quarter. 3-0 Jets. Fitzpatrick with the time, and it is thrown away. Stevie Johnson in the area as we set it back. For another update, here's JB and Boomer.
capitalizing on a Michael Vick mistake.
He threw an interception on his second pass attempt. Eli is going to throw a 3-yard touchdown pass to Ruben Randall right here. Remember, the Giants have to win to stay in the playoff hunt. The NFC, they go up on top 7-0 early against the Eagles.
And get a lot of help. Back to Marv and Rich.
Much help needed.
Yeah, a little rusty Michael Vick. He hasn't played in a while, and they definitely need some help. The Giants need some losses by Chicago and Minnesota.
Fitzpatrick looking at a second down and 20. This is Choice. Getting a nice block, working his way to the Jet 45, goes for 11. Tashard Choice, a favorite of Chan Gailey, going back to their days together with the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. Rich, you've been in this situation early in your career, bad season, and rumors of coaches and general managers being fired, players feeling they'll be elsewhere. So here are two teams going nowhere. And here in Buffalo, there's so much speculation concerning the future of the head coach and the general manager, the entire staff. How about the quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who fires one that is almost picked off. And he's hearing it from this crowd. Stevie Johnson, the intended receiver.
He's barking up the wrong tree. You look at Fitzpatrick trying to fit this one into Stevie Johnson. He's covered closely by Antonio Cromartie, one Pro Bowler, and he's got another Pro Bowler right there over the top in LaRon Landry. Tough to fit them in between the corner and the safety.
So Jeremy Curley is back as the punting team comes on for Buffalo. The rookie from Florida State, Sean Powell, back at his 40-yard line. Curley very dangerous, as the Bills are well aware from that opening day in the New Jersey Meadowlands, but this time a fair catch on a 34-yard punt. Jets 3, Bills nothing. We'll be right back.
Back here in Buffalo, you can see this graphic. The Jets don't score a lot of points. They're averaging just 18 points a game. Only Jacksonville, Oakland, Kansas City, and Arizona have scored less, and they're all bad offenses, and it's gotten worse since week 8. They're just averaging 14 points a game, the second fewest in football. Tony Sparano has had to deal with injuries at the wide receiver position, inconsistent play at the quarterback position. They really struggle getting the ball down the field, and even when they do get in the red zone, they have to settle for field goals rather than touchdowns.
But is that, as we start out at the 10-yard line, and Sean Green has brought it up, is that the fault of the offensive coordinator? Tony Sparano is obviously in big trouble, along with several other people on the staff. Is it the quarterback? Is it the coordinator?
Well, it's never one person's fault. I think it collectively as a group, it's not been good enough. You look at where they're at, 30th in total offense, 30th in passing offense, 28th in scoring. I think you look at the fact that the quarterback has taken a step back in his development, and I think that doesn't bode well for Tony Sparano to stick around as the coordinator of the Jets. I think some wholesale changes are going to come on the offensive side of the ball.
Sanchez with a deeper drop, goes the middle, able to complete, but not much there. Sean Green stopped on a 3-yard gain, met by the weak side linebacker Nick Barnett.
Yeah, just to drive home the point, I mean, this is not a good report card for the Jets offense. And I think one of the things that bothers me a little bit, Marv, as I study Tony Sparano, it's how he utilizes his talent. I know they've got some issues, but you've got to find creative ways to get receivers open if they can't beat man-to-man coverage. You get them into bunch sets, you get them into stacked formations, you do formationally and personnel-wise, you do some different things. We haven't seen a ton of that from this Jets offense, and I think more innovation would have helped some of these quarterbacks.
3rd down and 5, and it's picked off. Brian Scott runs it in for the touchdown. Brian Scott, 10-year man out of Penn State, with his 4th interception of the season, and took it 20 yards. He had a wide open field in front of him.
Yeah, one of the things you've got to be able to do as a quarterback is you've got to be able to see out in front of throws. There's Brian Scott. He sees Sanchez the whole way. That's a force. And you've got to be able to throw the football away in that situation. And for Mark Sanchez not to be able to see out in front of throws, knowing that he's got a linebacker type, safety type, and Brian Scott waiting for that throw.
Here's Ryan Lindell for the extra point. And this crowd has come to life off the interception by Brian Scott. The Bills take a 7-3 lead. The interception of Mark Sanchez, 18th interception of the season thrown by Sanchez. Brian Scott with his 3rd career touchdown on a pick. McKnight from the goal line. Across the 25-30. Able to accelerate up near the 35. It's a 33-yard return. Another look. That was intended for Jeremy Curley. Did not go that way. It's Brian Scott for 6. All right, Rich, how does Mark Sanchez react to throwing that interception for a touchdown?
Well, you have to have a short memory to play that position. You've got to be able to turn the page. And
well, he goes to the ground on the first play. It's Sean Green.
Well, I don't think that either of these quarterbacks had that talk that I got early in my career from Marty Schottenheimer. He said, if you don't take care of the football, you can't play for me. And you just look at the turnovers. I mean, it's devastating to a football team. And I think that, you don't give your team a chance to win when you turn it over at record clips. And that's what's happened really with both of these quarterbacks.
What was your reaction when Marty Schottenheimer said that to you?
That message hit home to me. I mean, as you want to play here in Kansas City, you better take care of the football. We'll run your way out of town. I mean, that's just how it is. And, you got to realize that, when you drop back to throw the football, 3 things can happen. And 2 of them aren't very good. I mean, think about it. An incompletion or even worse, an interception. But throwing the ball away once in a while is not the end of the world. And that's what both of these quarterbacks have to realize. And Mark Sanchez, to me, Marv, as I've studied this guy this season, and particularly the last 5 or 6 weeks, he's lost his confidence. He's throwing balls where he has no business throwing them, and it's getting him and his team in big trouble.
This is well short of a sellout crowd, but we're hearing from them here in this opening quarter as the catch is made by Conrad Rulin, backup tight end, picked up 4 and a Jet first down. A first-year man out of Stanford, a high school teammate of Mark Sanchez, Conrad Rulin, with only his 11th reception of the season.
And Mark is going to have to be very accurate with his throws. They just don't have the speed and the skill set to just line up and defeat press man-to-man coverage, and that's what they're going to see a lot today. Just look at these corners from Buffalo. They're going to get up there and they're going to jam these guys and challenge them to throw the ball down the field.
And on first down, it's Bilal Powell. Picked up 3 on the play. Well, you can keep your fantasy football season going with Playoff Challenge and compete throughout the postseason for a chance to win up to $1,600. Sign up now at cbssports.com/challenge. All the stories circulating out there regarding who will be the Jet quarterback next season. Do you see Sanchez returning? Do you see the Jets looking to sign a veteran quarterback? The name Alex Smith
They've got
has
to do
come up.
something. I think, you look at Curley, and they couldn't even figure out who's on the field. You see Sanchez down here.
And Curley has come in on the Wildcat, and he's pummeled. Jeremy Curley took a shot as he looked to run.
Remember now, Buffalo sees this. They've got their own version of it with Brad Smith, but Jeremy Curley, watch the shot he takes right here. You're going to go up and that's a rookie right there, Nigel Bradham, who's had a good year for the Bills. But you just see Sanchez in that last one, Marv. He comes off the field. He thinks he's out. He realizes he's supposed to be in. They've had all kind of communication issues when they've tried to go to some form of Wildcat.
You mentioned Brad Smith, and when he ran the Wildcat with the Jets, it was very effective. Now Sanchez has a 3rd and 7, and he's in trouble. Able to complete. He was patient. Hilliard, the fullback, made the catch. Try to stretch it out to the first down mark. Marcel Darius and Brian Scott combined to make the tackle, and it is a first down. Good job by the fullback, Hilliard. That's the end of the first quarter. We'll be back at Buffalo after these messages. Once again this afternoon, the Jets go to Jeremy Curley, utilizing the Wildcat rather than Tim Tebow, as you saw just a moment ago. And to add to the script that writes itself, earlier this week, there was a report that Tim Tebow had asked Rex Ryan not to use him in the Wildcat. Another incompletion thrown. This time intended for Curley, but a flag is down.
Pass interference, defense number 27. Automatic first down.
It's on the rookie corner, Stephon Gilmore, talking about Tebow. I'll get back to that in a moment.
You're going to see Gilmore. He's just playing a little in and out. And once he sees Curley come back outside, he just grabs him there at the top of the route, just pushes him.
But there was that report that Tebow had asked Rex Ryan not to be used in the Wildcat after he heard that Greg McElroy was the choice to replace Mark Sanchez in the game last week against the Chargers. This is Green. Good second effort. Went for 7. Tebow said it was not true. He said there might have been a miscommunication when he had told the head coach that he wanted to be a, quote, regular quarterback. He said he did not ask out of the Wildcat, and this came up with the wide receiver Jeremy Curley, quarterback in high school, used in the Wildcat as he was just a moment ago.
I'd be frustrated, Marv, as well if I was Tim Tebow. He's done everything that they've asked of him, and he's been a very unselfish player.
On a 2nd and 3, Green.
Well, Mark Sanchez hasn't exactly gotten off to a good start. Look at that. He's got more yards to the Bills than he does to the Jets. You look, it's not a. That's been a problem really for this offense all season. They get off to slow starts, and Mark Sanchez is 3 of 6 for 14 yards and an interception. And as a play caller, you're always looking for ways to get the quarterback in rhythm, get him off to a fast start. That's why you script for success, particularly those first 15, 20 plays.
3rd and a yard. And here is Green. Has the first down. Also last week there were stories concerning the alleged interest of the Jacksonville Jaguars in Tim Tebow. I don't doubt it for next season. Tebow from the Jacksonville area and certainly a legendary player out of the University of Florida. You say that Tebow's done whatever they've asked of him.
Well, heck,
what else could he do?
Yeah, I mean, he's lined up as a punt personal protector. He's lined up at running back, receiver. I mean, he's done everything that they've asked. And he's never really been given a chance to play quarterback.
Bilal Powell breaking tackles and gets down to the 10-yard line. However, they obviously, and I'm sure they scouted him beforehand, and he had some nice moments in Denver, helping the Broncos get to the playoffs and a wild card victory.
Yeah, nice run here by Bilal Powell. And if I was the Jets, I'd just keep running the football with all 3 of these backs, Sean Green, Bilal Powell, and Joe McKnight. Now we've got Tebow. Now they're giving the guy a chance. Now let's see if they can get the play called in the huddle, get up to the line of scrimmage. We've had a problem all season long with making the changes from Tebow from Sanchez to Tebow and whether or not both stay in the game.
1st and goal inside the 9. He's out of the gun and goes for the handoff, McKnight. And that's it.
Yeah, you know, I really think that the addition of Tim Tebow, Marv, did more harm than good this year for the Jets, and it's really no fault of Tim Tebow's. I think the organization failed to realize the enormity and the spectacle of adding such a popular player and how they would utilize him. And you've got a really essentially a first-time coordinator in Tony Sparano. And, you know, they've not been able to work this out with Tebow and with Sanchez, and quite frankly, it's been a little bit of a disappointment for the Jets.
12th play of the drive. You think so? As Green tries the right side.
Major disappointment.
Yes.
But, you know, and again, you can't fault, you knew what you were getting with Tim Tebow. I mean, you watched the guy last year in Denver. You saw that he completed 46% of his throws. You knew that he had some issues operating and functioning as a quarterback, you know, in the pocket. And yet, for whatever reason, somebody in the organization, whether it was Rex, whether it was Mike Tannenbaum, whether it was Woody Johnson, someone felt it would be a good decision to bring Tim Tebow to New York.
3rd and goal as Sanchez makes changes at the line. The running back is Powell. Taking a long time to get this play off. Sanchez looking end zone. Intended for Curley, but over his head. And a flag is down.
Illegal shift, offense. 2 men moving prior to the snap, did not reset. Penalties decline. 4th down.
This is brutal. I mean, this is the kind of thing that just drives you crazy if you're Rex Ryan. Well, just look at the top of your screen. You're going to see Clyde Gates here, and you're going to see Jeremy Curley here. Prior to the start of it, you go back and look at they're both moving, and that's the problem. They don't get reset. You've got to make sure that somebody's on the ball and somebody's off.
So here is Nick Folk, who back in the first quarter hit from 47 yards away. This from 23. The angle is to the left. The holder is the punter, Robert Malone. And it was deflected. And it went through. For a moment, the Jets took a long look, and they were not sure. But it did carry through for Folk. The Bills with a 7-6 lead. Whoa. Once again, Rich, for the Bills, it's defensive tackle Alex Carrington, who has become one of the best field goal and extra point blockers in the NFL. This was a deflection, but he has blocked 3 field goals and an extra point this season. 3-year man out of Arkansas State. Justin Rogers decides to run it out. Ends up at about the 20-yard line. A 23-yard return. We'll take a break. Buffalo up 7-6.
This is the only team that I want to coach, period. And I think anybody that knows me knows that this is, that I'm telling you the truth. Has it been perfect? No. Would I like this player, that player? Of course, anybody would. But I'm telling you, this is my team.
Now, I firmly believe that Rex doesn't want to go anywhere, but Rich, I don't see Manish Mehta of the New York Daily News making up that story. I think Rex did say, and I can understand it, he said what he felt was being said privately, that he wants to see ownership commit to making major changes offensively. I mean, any fan would say the same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
But it leaked out.
Yeah, and you and I say things in production meetings that we wouldn't say on the air.
Yeah, please don't repeat anything. Because
but it is what it is.
Our producer, Ross Schneiderman, would get very upset at that stuff that you said about him to me privately last night. Here's C.J. Spiller refusing to go down as he brings out to the 25. Bart Scott and LaRon Landry combining to wrap him up.
I really think it's frustration and disappointment for Rex, and I think that the defense. Hey, look, it's not like the defense hasn't had injuries, Marv. I mean, they're the best players in football, Darrelle Revis, and yet they've still found a way to be competitive. They're 7th in total defense. They're 2nd pass defense. He's had different players roll through there. You look at Garrett McIntyre. He's playing for Ryan Thomas today. They've been competitive on defense, but they've not been able to overcome the issues offensively.
Well, offensively, it has been brutal as Spiller tries to make his cut. And there's no question an injury to Santonio Holmes it's very difficult to make up for a talent like a Santonio Holmes. But every team has injuries. As you know, everyone goes through it, and teams do come back. New England Patriots, they plug other people in.
Green Bay Packers, but this group is not as talented. I mean, they lack talent at the skill positions. I mean, I've said this a number of times this season. Where's the top 10 talent? You look at quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receiver. It's just not there for the Jets.
Now Spiller is flanked to the near side. 3rd down and 3. Fitzpatrick out of the gun, makes some changes. And he fires. It's through the hands of Stevie Johnson. Try to go underneath. May have been tipped. Yeah, it looked like Calvin Pace got a piece of it for the Jets. There's Pace, number 97.
Well, the Jets have been really good on their 3rd down defense. They bring pressure to the one side. You're going to see Calvin Pace. He peels off. Ryan Fitzpatrick trying to throw that slant route to Stevie Johnson. Again, the Jets have been very, very good in 3rd down defense.
I don't know if that's a stat that you'd be proud of. 34 fair catches.
It's a lot. In football.
Yeah, I mean, you want to play it safe, and Curley is a guy they can trust, but that's
better safe than sorry, I say.
Yes. And he does lead the league in that department.
And this really sums up the kind of season it's been for the Jets this year. Really dominating play here in the first half. You look at that total yards, time of possession, and yet they're trailing Buffalo 7-6 because of a turnover.
Green and Hilliard in the backfield working out of the eye. Sean Green breaking tackles and has a first down up at the 35, hauled down by middle linebacker Kelvin Shepard. Not only does CBS have the #1 comedy and drama and the top news shows, but this season more people watch the NFL on CBS than on any other network. And for that, we all thank you very much. Jets stay with the combination of Sean Green and Lex Hilliard. Again, it is Green who has been running well. Picks up 4 more. George Wilson, the strong safety, makes the stop.
I'm really a little surprised that Buffalo's not bringing the extra safety down the box. The Jets are going to continue to run it into these 7-man fronts. Look at play selection for the Jets. They want to take the ball out of the hands of Mark Sanchez and put it in the hands of Sean Green and these running backs.
Green has carried 14 times for 68 yards. Sanchez looking to his left and then completes to Green, who's met immediately. Hit by Jarris Byrd. The Bills' outstanding free safety, and people up here in Buffalo feel that he should have made All-Pro.
Well, he's a ball hawk. I mean, he's very good at reading the quarterback's eyes. 5 interceptions this year. He gets his hands on a lot of passes. Mark Sanchez has to be very aware of him. He's got very good range in center field.
You remember his dad, Gil, played 10 years in the NFL with San Diego, 2-time Pro Bowl defensive back. 3rd down and 6. Sanchez on a sidearm move to Powell, has an open field, puts a nice move on, but a flag is down as he got inside the 30-yard line.
Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, it was a 33-yard play, and the flag is on the right tackle, Austin Howard.
You got to look at him. He's right there. He's blocking in space, and right there you're going to see him grab and hold Nick Barnett. He's not able to come off on the back. But Austin Howard has actually played pretty well this year, Marv. Remember, they made that switch. They sent Wayne Hunter to St. Louis and got Jason Smith to come in. And Austin Howard has held off the competition, and he's actually, I think, had a pretty solid season at right tackle.
Following that opening day game between the Jets and the Bills, Mario Williams was very upset with what he felt were all the holding tactics used by Howard, who kept Williams in check. 3rd down and 16, a low snap. Curley breaks tackles. Curley down the sideline and runs it out. So they come right back with a big play after one was negated by the penalty on Howard. Ron Brooks in a foot race able to get to Curley, who goes 39 yards.
Yeah, really a little slip screen out here. Mark's just going to kick it out to his left, and then you see the blocking downfield. Really nice job to Brickashaw Ferguson down there. And you get receivers cutting and allowing Jeremy Curley to get up on the second level. He's got some speed. He's got some playmaking ability for the Jets.
1st down for the Jets. Green up the middle. Makes his way to the 25. Kelvin Shepard on the stop. Picked up about 6. The Jets and the Bills, a couple of franchises that date back to the old American Football League days, back in 1960. Jets have won the last 6, 8 of the last 9. Jets played at the Polo Grounds at that time, and the Bills at War Memorial Stadium, as Green finds a hole and has another Jet 1st down. Shepard again making that tackle. And over the last 6 games, you can see the domination. Now, we talk about the Jet struggles the last 2 years, but remember, they did go to the AFC Championship game, Rex Ryan's first 2 seasons as head coach. And part of this domination took place when the Jets had very talented teams. This is Bilal Powell off the right side. Picked up a couple.
You know, you look at this Buffalo defense, we were talking about the problems they've had stopping the run. For them to be really good on defense, they've got to be able to dominate with their front four, and it just hasn't happened this year. We talked about the type of season that Mario Williams has had at the left end position. He's been kind of up and down, although he's played better since the bye. But Marcel Darius has been a bit of a disappointment inside. I don't think Kyle Williams has had the type of season that we've seen from him in the past. He's not playing at a Pro Bowl level, and of course they've had issues at the other end position as well.
A little dump pass, a dangerous pass that Powell could not hold on to as Sanchez looked to flip it ahead, and that did not work.
Well, Mario Williams almost makes a big play here. You're going to see him right at the end here. He comes off the block, and he's just not able to extend that left hand. Jets run a lot of screens to try and slow down Mario Williams in that pass rush.
Talking about the Buffalo defensive play, they allow 28 points a game. That's 31st in the NFL. Their third down defense last in the league. 3rd and 8 for the Jets. Out of the gun, Sanchez pumps and then completes inside the 15-yard line. Braylon Edwards, but short of a first down. Nick Barnett able to make the tackle. That's a 6-yard hookup.
Well, the problem for the Bills is they've been on the field so much, almost 20 minutes now, and they're not winning on the early downs, and so the Jets are driving down the field, converting on some third downs. But the one thing they have done is they've held the Jets to some field goals down in the scoring zone.
So here is Nick Folk, who has hit from 47, from 23, although that attempt was deflected but carried through. And this is from 28 yards away. Slight angle to the left. And he puts it through. Jets move out in front. They have a 9-7 lead. The Buffalo faithful enjoying their most unique style of tailgating, I must say. Rich, you hung out with this group earlier.
I was out there earlier. That's a little ingenuity there from that group. Whatever it takes to get it done, using the hood of a car. Reminds me of the car I drove in high school.
If you kids out there, don't do that at home. Folk with the kick. It's a short kick played by Justin Rogers. Picks up a blocker, finds a hole, and then lost his balance as he crossed the 35-yard line. Antonio Allen able to cover up, 28-yard return. Nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Break down all the NFL action on NFL Monday QB. That's tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern Time, only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. NFL Monday QB featuring our Rich Gannon, Phil Simms, Steve Berline. I myself always set the DVR.
We have to have you on sometime. We have to have you on as a guest.
Very busy, right, John? I'm trying to fit it in. So
yeah, it's just what you want to do on Mondays.
I'd be so happy to drop by. And Ryan Fitzpatrick on a roll. Here's it from the crowd. The pass intended for Brad Smith. Some pressure from Calvin Pace. Well, coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for all the latest NFL scores. Just 11 yards. Talked about Fitzpatrick earlier and mentioned there are many, many questions as to whether he will be back as the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. That pass overthrown, intended for Smith. There was double coverage by the Jets. Kyle Wilson, Jeremiah Bell on the scene.
Well, it's not been a good day for either quarterback. You look at it, and Ryan Fitzpatrick's not had a lot of chances. They've not had the ball much here, and they've just 0 for 2 on third down. And so, got to find a way to get it going. It's, you look at this offense; it's evolved quite a bit. I mean, with the emergence of C.J. Spiller this season, and because of the injuries at wide receiver, I think there's much more of a commitment to running the football in the second half of the season. But when they run the ball well, the play-action game can be so effective for Ryan Fitzpatrick. They've not been able to do that here today.
Played it to Spiller. Spiller puts the speed on. Spiller in the open field, and he is gone for a touchdown. "66 yards on that touchdown pass play." Remember back opening day at the Jets, he ran for a career-high 169 yards. This off the pass from Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, just a simple little play, a little underneath throw. And now he just separates. I mean, there's nobody is going to catch C.J. Spiller in the open field. Rare and unusual speed.
Ryan Lindell on for the extra point. The Bills back on top. C.J. Spiller in his third year out of Clemson, having a sensational season. There's C.J. Spiller starting for the injured Fred Jackson. And C.J. has made it back from an injured shoulder, made it back in a big way.
Yeah, he's just going to start out. He's going to work right back underneath, and then he gets right behind the offensive lineman. You see the two big linemen downfield, and then right here, I really felt like he may even get tackled. But just watch the speed, watch the separation, watch him kick it into overdrive. And you're always looking for creative ways to get C.J. Spiller the ball in space. Really nice play design there by Chan Gailey.
As you can see, longest play from scrimmage in the brief career in the NFL. C.J. Spiller, only his third season.
Boy, you got to be able to tackle him. That's the challenge. I mean, he usually makes the first defender miss. And like a lot of good runners, his eyes are usually fixed on the second defender. I mean, he sets up his cut so well, and he's got great vision in the hole.
Joe McKnight back for the kick. It's a short kick, muffed, and off the recovery, ball's knocked loose. It's a double muff, and the Jets able to cover it up, so the Jets will hold on. Reminder tomorrow on CBS, take a trip to paradise and leave winter behind. Hawaii 5-0 only. CBS, looked like Lex Hilliard, the Jets fullback, also sees special teams duties, was able to get to that football.
Well, they've had some good drives. Look at 12-play, 14-play, 10-play drive. They've gotten down in the scoring zone, but they've had to settle for field goals. Got to find a way to punch it in there when you get inside the 20.
Coming up on 3 minutes to play in this first half, Buffalo with a 14-9 lead. Pitch to Green. Try to make the turn, could not. Hit back behind the line by the combination of Sean Merriman and Kelvin Shepherd, and that's a loss of 3 yards.
Well, it's good to see Sean Merriman running around a little bit and making some plays. You know, they've not, you talk about that position opposite Mario Williams. Mark Anderson's been banged up a little bit. Sean Merriman has battled through some injuries. Chris Kelsey, they lost him. And everybody's got to deal with injuries. It's part of playing this game.
Particularly in the final weeks of the season when you talk about playoff teams and who is ready for postseason action. Short range pass, Cumberland, the tight end, makes the diving catch for 6.
You look at Cumberland there, and you look at Sanchez, Bob, he really misses Dustin Keller. I mean, you look at his production with a healthy Dustin Keller, and without, it's been significant.
Well, there's the 2-minute warning. Bills 14, Jets 9. Well, at one time, this was a great franchise with sellout crowds turning out no matter what the weather. We're talking about the Buffalo Bills of Jim Kelly and Bruce Smith and Andre Reed, head coach Marv Levy. We can go down that entire roster, all familiar names, a number of Hall of Famers and how things have turned around. The pass from Sanchez, a leaping catch made by Braylon Edwards. Beautiful catch by Edwards, who is in a second run as a member of the Jets.
What a terrific catch. Actually pretty good coverage there by Aaron Williams, and then he just reaches over and snatches it.
That's good for 19. Coming up on a minute and a half remaining in this first half as play is blown dead.
The previous play is under review.
What's the review? I thought he caught it. Caught it clean.
Look, it appeared that he made the catch, but they'll take a look upstairs. Final 2 minutes. No challenges, but they do check it out. Here's another look, and the question is, did he touch the ground with the ball? So, Rich, the call on the field was completion, and from our eyes, it appeared to be the case, but they are reviewing it.
A really nice effort here by Braylon Edwards. I mean, this is what a 6'3", 6'3" tall wide receiver can do for you, one that can jump. And you see, watch his right hand. He's got the hand underneath the ball as it hits the ground. I thought that was a really nice catch and a nice effort there by Braylon Edwards. Picked up Braylon Edwards off the street a couple weeks ago. And
off the street. I love that term.
Well, you know, he's
just hanging around.
Looking for work.
The run on the field is confirmed. It is a completed pass. First down.
Braylon Edwards, who was with the Jets. This is third game back with them, cut by Seattle. Was on the streets. Jets said, hey, I like that guy.
Sent out a friendly tweet to the Jets saying,
know you.
I'd love to come back and play for you.
He was actually a favorite.
He ripped.
Yeah, right. He was a favorite target of Sanchez, but was actually quoted as a ball is lost. Sanchez in a miscommunication on a handoff to Powell, and it ends up on the ground and then is recovered by Powell. But Edwards had come out and said positive things about Sanchez when he was facing a lot of criticism. As he take another look at that?
Yeah, I don't think Mark fielded that one real well. I think it surprised him a little bit. And then to make matters worse, they don't get a clean exchange between the quarterback and ball carrier.
Timeout is taken by Buffalo. Then Braylon Edwards, when he was in Seattle, said, you know, what are those idiots doing, referring to Jet management. And then because they were desperate, we talked about this last week during the telecast, they were so desperate for another receiver, they said, oh, what the heck. He could say whatever he wants, and they re-signed him.
That's how desperate they were. I think you've got to be careful. I always tell players, you got to be careful before you push that send button when you start tweeting. Make sure you read it
Good
twice.
Advice.
It's like,
second and 13, and Sanchez goes sideline. A nice catch made by Clyde Gates. Not able to hang on. Had it, and then took a hard hit from the left corner, Aaron Williams. Whoa.
well, this ball needed to be outside more, and it actually comes back inside, and Mark late with his eyes. Look, he's laid out there. Now when he throws this, watch Clyde Gates. He's got to come all the way back inside, and he just can't hold on to it. I don't know. That looked another shot there. You can get a look at the corner. Aaron Williams. Boy, what great concentration, though. Maybe the ball just kind of rolled out at the end, and that's why they're not calling it a catch.
With Gates shaken up and not able to get off the field right away, the Jets are charged with a timeout. Clyde Gates, who was signed as a free agent earlier in the season after he was cut by Miami, guy with terrific speed and, as you mentioned, the concentration to make that catch, although he took a shot and was not able to hang on. Coming up momentarily on the Verizon halftime, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher for all the latest NFL scores, highlights, and a look at what is going on in terms of playoff possibilities. There are still some situations to be resolved. Coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Third down and 13. A minute 8 left in the half. Bills with a 14-9 lead. Sanchez from the gun pumps and then decides to throw it away.
Well, we went back to that screen one time too many against this Buffalo defense. I mean, they recognize that. Been trying to get that screen. You're going to see the back. Bilal Powell, he's just trying to slip back underneath. Mark Sanchez had nowhere to go with that ball. Just throws it in the ground.
So this is the first punt for Robert Malone. He'll boot it from his 27. Justin Rogers, second-year man out of Richmond, is back deep. Gets the good hang time, but a short punt. And Rogers takes it out of bounds. 34-yard punt. Special teams has not been a pleasant subject for the Jets. They've had major problems. There's the special teams coach, the very highly regarded Mike Westhoff, who today is finishing up what has been a successful 30-year career with the Colts, Dolphins, Jets, special teams coach of the year back in 2000, but it has gone astray this season. They've had all kinds of problems.
Yeah, they've had some breakdowns, but let me just say this about Mike Westhoff. I think he's one of the best in the business. I had the opportunity to compete against him over the years. He always does it very innovative, always has his team ready. And sometimes, while we talk about coaching, sometimes it's a matter of going out and executing and making plays, and the Jets just haven't done enough of that this season.
C.J. Spiller split wide to the left once again. Fitzpatrick with a nice pass right on target for Stevie Johnson, who broke a tackle. And plenty of time for the Bills with 49 seconds remaining first half.
You're going to see Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of sidearms this one, allows Stevie Johnson to work all the way back across the field. And you know, Stevie Johnson's had a pretty special season here for the Buffalo Bills. He's, for the third straight year, he's going to go over 1,000 yards receiving.
29-yard pickup. Jeremiah Bell was not able to get to Johnson. Stevie Johnson broke the tackle. Long count. Fitzpatrick looking left and decides to throw it away. With 44 seconds remaining, Bills have a 2nd and 10. As you see Ryan Lindell get ready.
Well, the Bills love to spread you out in that no-back offense and allow Ryan Fitzpatrick to wheel and deal. And the thing that he does, he makes quick decisions. He gets the ball out fast and he doesn't hold it very long. Obviously, that helps the big guys up front, that offensive line. They don't have to hold their blocks as long, and they can be a little bit more aggressive with some of their pass sets.
2nd and 10 from the Jet 44-yard line. Fitzpatrick set up the screen, and it is incomplete, intended for Spiller.
Well, both of these teams trying to run these little delay screens to the backs underneath. We've seen the Jets try it a couple times, and of course we saw C.J. Spiller run it from the slot and go for a touchdown. And now they try and do it out of the backfield. It's all about illusion and disguise sometimes from an offensive perspective. You try to create the illusion that you're multiple in nature, and yet you're running the very same plays over and over from different personnel groupings and formations. As you see C.J. Spiller go out here.
Hey, wide line!
That's a guy I'd be worried about if I was. Look how far off the safety is up top. Landry.
3rd and 10. Fitzpatrick's pass incomplete. Intended for Spiller. That was thrown high and hard.
Yeah, it was a hard one for him to catch. And you got to know who you're throwing to. Receivers sometimes can make that catch, but you're throwing to a running back, and I'm not suggesting he's got alligator on, so watch his head. Right there, he's taking a peek inside. He knows there's some linebackers and safeties in there that want to give him a big hit. You throw to those backs, you've got to put it on them.
Sean Powell will punt from his 41. And the Jets let it bounce right around the 10-yard line. 33-yard punt. We're down to 25 seconds to play in this first half. Well, thought your fantasy season was over? It's not. NFL Playoff Challenge is back and better than ever. You can win a trip to Super Bowl 48 in 2014. You can play today at NFL.com/fantasy. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon from Ralph Wilson Stadium in Buffalo as this first half comes to a conclusion. The Jets will just run it out. The Bills with a 14-9 lead on the Jets. The big play, C.J. Spiller on the short pass from Ryan Fitzpatrick and he took it 66 yards for the touchdown. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. You're listening to a Pepsi anthem by Lenny Kravitz. You can download this and other NFL-inspired anthems at PepsiAnthems.com. As we welcome you back to Buffalo, New York, Marv Albert with Rich Gannon. It is a 14-9 lead for the Bills over the Jets. And what is most unusual about this first half, the fact that Bills have the lead, they've hardly had the football.
No, they've made a couple big plays. Think about the Brian Scott interception early in the first quarter, and then, of course, C.J. Spiller's big touchdown catch. You look at the Jets, they're running the ball really well, Marv. 119 yards in the first half, but they've stalled in the red zone, settling for 3 field goals.
Now let's take a look at some of those numbers from the first half.
Now, you look at the Jets, they've had the ball almost 3 times as many plays as Buffalo, and yet the one turnover, a costly turnover in the first quarter where Brian Scott intercepts Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez not looking out in front of the throw. He's trying to fit this one into Jeremy Curley. And, of course, Brian Scott takes it back for an interception return. And of course, the big play, the 66-yard throw to C.J. Spiller. And once he gets into the second level, nobody's going to catch him. But from Buffalo's perspective, offensively, they've not been able to get C.J. Spiller going much on the ground. Jets have played pretty good run defense. Where they've really been hurt is the throws to the running back, C.J. Spiller. Just looking for different ways to get him the ball in space.
Buffalo will receive to start this second half. They have Brad Smith and Justin Rogers back deep. Fitzpatrick just 3 of 11, 106 yards, which is skewed by that pass and catch for 66 by Spiller. And here's Nick Falk to kick it away. Brad Smith across the 20-25. And taken down there by Jeremiah Bell. 30-yard return. Good one by Smith. So Buffalo to the offense to get this third quarter underway. They are 5-10 coming in. They've dropped 3 in a row, 7 of their last 9. And speaking of stats, they have not been filling up the stat sheet, particularly their last 3 games. They've scored 12, 17, and 10 points over those last 3 games. C.J. Spiller is the running back. Now Brad Smith in motion. The handoff to Spiller. Stutter steps and then tries to cut. Lost the ball. It is picked up by the Jets. Picked up by Jeremiah Bell, who tried to run with it, which can be dangerous, but he did field it on a lively hop, and the Jets will take over.
Well, C.J. Spiller gets himself in trouble. Not a lot up inside, and then he tries to bounce this run to the edge. You're going to see, I think, Mike DeVito come in here. He's just watch this right hand. He strips it. C.J. Spiller never feels him from behind. And of course, Jeremiah Bell is right there to scoop it up. Boy, turnovers again, a big story for both these teams. Look at that, 36 for the Jets and 34 for the Buffalo Bills. Big reason why both of these teams have losing records. You've got to be able to take care of the football.
And that is the 3rd fumble for Spiller this season. He's lost all 3. So the Jets taking over as Sean Green, stopped by Jarris Burr, the free safety, lost 2 on the play. Green tried to make the turn at the edge and could not. It'll be a 2nd down and 12. The ball is at the Buffalo 17.
Yeah, the Jets have had plenty of opportunities down here in the scoring zone, but they've only had to settle for 3 field goals. I mean, you've got to be able to capitalize. When you get a turnover like that in this part of the field, you've got to come away with a touchdown.
Jets have 3 tight ends. Sanchez on the roll. And just try to flick it. I don't know what that is, but Rulin was in the area And off the pressure from Mario Williams, Sanchez just try to flick it. Would you analyze this, Rich?
No, it's like that movie, Analyze This. I don't know. I think he just should have kept running. I mean, when he pulls up, it makes it easier for a player like Mario Williams just trying to avoid it. Not a very pretty throw. I think he was trying to throw the ball back across the field, but boy, that looked ugly.
Third and 12 from the 17 in Buffalo territory. Inside handoff, here's Powell. He goes for 6. Nick Barnett with the tackle, and again the Jets will have to settle for a field goal. Nick Folk comes on, hit from 47, from 23, from 28. So this is 4th field goal opportunity.
And I think that speaks volumes about how much confidence they have in Mark Sanchez in the passing game with a 3rd and 12 there in that part of the field, and they try and run a draw. They just don't want him making mistakes. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
This is a
trust him.
30-yard attempt and a high snap leading to the block. Well, he had one deflected earlier by Carrington. And this time it's deflected by Marcell Dareus. A blocked kick for the Bills.
Right there, you look at Marcell Dareus. He just pushes right inside. He's going to walk Brandon Moore right back, and that's twice now today. We saw it once from Marcell Dareus and the other one from Alex Carrington. 2 blocks of kicks today. Big plays.
Dareus with the left-handed rejection. Here's Fitzpatrick in trouble and just fires it on a hop. He's trying to get rid of the football. Spiller was in the area. Both quarterbacks have had shaky moments. Fitzpatrick now 3 for 12, had that one touchdown pass. It was, for the most part, C.J. Spiller as he went 66 yards. Sanchez is 8 of 16, 85 yards, and was picked off. That ended up in a touchdown for the linebacker Brian Scott.
Yeah, neither quarterback having any luck getting the ball in the perimeter. I mean, the receivers have been very quiet today for both teams. Trying to throw the ball to the backs. That's where all the balls are going right now.
4 wideouts for the Bills. Fitzpatrick picks it and completes for a first down. Ruvel Martin with his first catch of the day, covered by Antonio Allen, a rookie out of South Carolina.
Well, you give Ryan Fitzpatrick some time, he can be very deadly, and that's one of the things that Rex Ryan talked about. He said we can't allow this guy to get comfortable. We got to try and confuse him and try and change some coverages up and pressures, disguise your intentions, make it difficult for Ryan Fitzpatrick in the passing game.
Gain of 11 and a 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line. Spiller taken down just shy of the 35, goes for 4. Eric Smith on the stop.
I really like what I've seen from C.J. Spiller this year. And it really started at the end of last season. I think he gained some confidence. We've talked about him becoming a more patient runner. Always had a real good vision and has been a great cutback runner. But I think he's been more decisive. You don't see as many negative runs. And I think he's a lot stronger than people give him credit for.
2nd down and 6. It's T.J. Graham, wide out in motion. Once again, Spiller, and he is bottled up. Nowhere to go. Muhammad Wilkerson held him to a 1-yard gain.
Yeah, you just can't give C.J. Spiller a 2-way go. I mean, you've got to be really disciplined with your eyes, and you got to be gap sound. You've got to get a lot of hats to the ball carrier.
Wait a moment. Gap savvy.
Gap sound.
Oh, gap sound.
Everybody's got a gap they're responsible for, and he just needs to find one crease, and he's off. And that's been an issue when you study the tape of teams that have struggled against C.J. Spiller.
I prefer gap savvy.
Gap conscious. Gap savvy.
Quite a phrase. 3rd and 5, and that pass not handled by Spiller.
Well, yeah, you learn, you throw to backs, it's different. I tell young quarterbacks this all the time. It's not like throwing to Stevie Johnson or one of these other receivers. You've got to put it on them. You've got to put it in the framework of their body. They're not comfortable making these catches. You've got him lined up as a receiver. That's not where he's been trained. He's used to running routes out of the backfield. You've got to put it on him.
Fourth punt for Sean Powell. Jeremy Curley back at his 15. And a fair catch once again by Curley on the 39-yard punt. There's a flag down. So although the break music during the course of the telecast, we've been talking about all the drama surrounding the Jets. This is the kind of bizarre season it's been for Rex Ryan and his team. Several weeks back, the unique fumble by Mark Sanchez, a different kind of backside play. 2 weeks ago at Tennessee, that bad snap, Sanchez not able to handle it. That ended their playoff hopes. And even Fireman Ed, longtime Jet fan, announced his retirement. An emotional moment for all of us.
That's what was most disheartening for me. I mean, how does a guy like Fireman Ed give up on the Jets? I mean, really, how does that happen? He's like their number one fan.
Meanwhile, a penalty was called right as Curley was making that fair catch, and they tacked it on. Penalty was on Buffalo, so the ball spotted at the 31-yard line. Incidentally, that fair catch by Curley, we talked about this earlier, the large number of fair catches that he's called for, his 35th of the season. Rich, that is the most in NFL history in a season, which means he's fielding a lot of punts.
He's fielding a lot of punts, but he's not being able to make a lot of plays on them. And you always talk about the importance of field position, and with an offense that's struggling, you need big plays in the return game, and they just haven't gotten enough of them this year in their punt return.
Although he's averaging 11 yards per return, including that 68-yard interception. That was his big play in terms of punt returns. Ran it for a touchdown opening day against the Bills. Sanchez on first down, unloads deep down the left side, and Curley with the catch, and he's in bounds.
That was a really nice throw there by Mark Sanchez. Really nice throw. He's going to get hit as he lets it go, and he really puts some air on this ball and gives Jeremy Curley a chance to make it. Look, Stephon Gilmore is right there. He even turns around. He's just not able to make a play on the ball. I don't think he gets that second foot in, though. Watch the right foot. Yeah, I don't think that one's going to come back.
Yeah, this will be challenged. It's a 40-yard pass play. And the
Buffalo is challenged.
Challenge
the
flag
pass was
tossed.
incomplete. Timeout.
And it appears the Bills will get the call. Take another look. One and the left leg out of bounds.
Review, the ruling on the field stands. Buffalo is charged with their first timeout.
So the catch is called complete. And we were taking a look during the commercial break, and you get another perspective, because I thought the foot was out of bounds. You can't tell the space right there.
That's the issue. I mean, now looking back at it, looks like he's got his foot there. Now the right foot's going to come in. I think that's the right call. I mean, we looked at it so quickly the first time, but I think his left foot was on the ground when he made initial contact and had possession.
Beautiful catch, 40-yard pass play, first down at the Buffalo 29-yard line. Sean Green is taken down back behind the line. Kyle Williams comes up to make the stop, and it's a loss of 3.
Well, that was one of the big challenges in talking to some of the Buffalo players this week. They have to be able to stop the run on first down against the Jets, and they're giving up over 5 yards per rush this season, and it's where they've really been hurt on some of the first down runs.
Bilal Powell now in the backfield. Sanchez able to hit Braylon Edwards. Not much there. Bumped out of bounds. Picked up 5. Aaron Williams, the left corner, up to make the tackle.
Well, the one thing you do like about Braylon Edwards, the one thing you like is the fact that he's a big Bigger guy, a bigger target. The other thing you don't like about it is that he doesn't keep his poise. He took his helmet off.
Yeah, that's a no-no. He's trying to say that it was an equipment adjustment.
Well, that's one thing, but it didn't. To me, that didn't
After
seem
the
like
play,
that.
unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 17 taking his helmet off. 15-yard penalty.
Brutal.
Down counts. Third down.
But he has to know that. I mean, that's
Well,
a rule
sure, he
that
knows.
is.
And that's just a
that's
guy
it.
losing his composure. He gets whacked on the sidelines. You're going to see him go down. Now he's frustrated. Now he takes his helmet off. Why would you do that? He's not trying to fix an ear pad, although he is missing one. I can see it loose there. See it? But if you're going to take off your helmet to fix an ear pad, you've got to take off your helmet to fix the ear pad. He went back at a Buffalo defender.
Or you do it on the sideline. So it's a third down and 23. Powell remains in the backfield. Out of the gun. Sanchez with protection throws sideline incomplete. A pass intended for the rookie out of Western Michigan, Jordan White. The Jets, like the Bills, shorthanded in the receiving department. So Jordan White is targeted. The guy who led the nation with 140 receptions last season at Western Michigan, 7th-round draft pick. Jarris Bird is back for this Robert Malone punt. Fair catch made by Bird at the 12 on a 31-yard punt. The Bills 14, Jets 9. On a rather brisk, and now I'm told it's up to 27 degrees, Rich.
Ooh, chilly.
Cold day in Buffalo.
Great football weather, though, right?
C.J. Spiller getting the call. Stopped by Kendrick Ellis for no gain. Well, we touched on this earlier, but a number of coaches around the NFL, which is the norm at this time of the year, on the hot seat.
Yeah, you look at Chan Gailey, 5-10 this year. More, they just haven't won enough here. 15-32 in Buffalo, 4-12 his first year, 6-10 last season, and 5-10. And they haven't been able to win in the division. They haven't been able to win consistently enough. And you think about the owner. You invested $62 million in Ryan Fitzpatrick 14 months ago. You gave $100 million to Mario Williams, and the guy wants to win, and they haven't been able to do that. 8 consecutive losing seasons here in Buffalo.
Spiller stopped by Wilkerson. We'll step away for a moment. Ready for an update. Here's JB and Boomer.
Here comes Houston. Remember, they win. They get the #1 seed in the AFC out of the locker room. First series, Arian Foster, 13-yard touchdown run. Richard Marves, look what he does right here at the end of the touchdown. Pays homage to the fight that Chuck Pagano waged against leukemia by touching his Chuck Strong banner right there in Indianapolis. 14-13 as the Texans get themselves back into the game.
Classy move, Marv and Rich.
Yes, it was, and the Houston Texans would clinch home field advantage with a win over the Colts. Looks like Muhammad Wilkerson was shaken up.
Yeah, he was battling a little bit of a knee this week, and
actually,
concussion
yeah,
too.
had suffered a concussion last week in San Diego. They checked him out, said he's all right.
Isn't it amazing though if it's like a defensive end or an offensive lineman, and he's got a little ding. If it's a quarterback or a receiver or running back, it seems like we treat these guys a little bit differently.
Well, the fortunate aspect of it is that it is taken more seriously because, even as is Greg McElroy.
Well, yeah, Greg McElroy. I mean, he came in and really didn't tell anybody that he was struggling a little bit and had some headaches. Didn't find out until Thursday. He was in the weight room working out.
And that's not smart because obviously he wanted to play. And Rex Ryan said, no, you're not going to be able to play under these conditions. Brad Smith, the one-time Jet on the reception. Kyle Wilson, the left corner, made the stop. But even when you were playing, obviously not long ago, I'm not saying this as a joke, but guys would not necessarily reveal
Oh, yeah.
that they were concussed, and guys would play with
All the
concussions.
time. I mean, guys wanted to tough it out. I think you look right at Greg McElroy there. I think for him, I mean, here's a guy that wasn't being completely honest with himself, wanted to play so badly that I think players have to be honest with the doctors and trainers, and he took all the reps in practice on Wednesday. Everybody felt he was going to play, started experiencing some headaches while working out Thursday morning. They decided to shut him down.
Spiller on first down, breaking tackles, and then takes it out of bounds across the 35-yard line, picked up 8.
And really the decision for Rex Ryan what to do now at the quarterback position, is that Rex felt it was a pretty simple decision. With only 2 days left to prepare, it made sense to go with Sanchez, who's obviously very familiar with the Bills and has had success against them in the past. I think there's been a reluctance to play Tim Tebow exclusively at quarterback. I think you look, there had been opportunities this year as they were struggling, but they just haven't felt comfortable enough to turn Tim Tebow loose as a quarterback.
He has appeared in today's game once and handed it off. Spiller looking for the first down, and he picks it up. .6:45 remaining, third quarter, and a 14-9 lead for Buffalo. Coming up, time permitting, after the game, the NFL Today update presented by Farmers Insurance. It'll be JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher. They'll have all the latest NFL scores, highlights, and much more on what's going on in terms of playoff positioning. First down for the Bills. Play action. Fitzpatrick looking deep and fires. It is broken up. Intended for T.J. Graham. Crowd looking for a penalty on the quarterback Kyle Wilson, but there's no call.
Boy, that was really nice coverage by Kyle Wilson. He gets turned around a little bit. He's covering T.J. Graham. He's going to get some help inside from Darren Walls, who falls off from the backside, but a really nice job there by Kyle Wilson making a play on this ball.
T.J. Graham out of North Carolina State, third-round draft pick. He's in his rookie season, and he can fly. He was a track star in college. He has deep speed, and that's the first time that Fitzpatrick tried to get him the ball downfield. Second down and 10. Spiller try to accelerate. You see a little stutter step move, but he could not make the cut, and Quentin Coples able to make the tackle.
Yeah, one of the problems, look at this fading down the stretch, and this has been the problem for Buffalo. You really got to play your best football after Thanksgiving. They just have not done that for whatever reason here, going all the way back to 2007. Look at, they've been in position, and even this season, they were 3-4 at one point at their bye, and I really felt like they might get it going and make a run, but it never happened. They've lost 6 of their last 8 games. They've not been a good team after Thanksgiving.
Third down and 6. Spiller has a wideout, but he goes the other way. Fitzpatrick completes to Johnson. Stevie Johnson working his way inside the 40. That's a gain of 18.
He may be the quickest receiver off the line of scrimmage. He's got great initial quickness. He's very patient. He does a nice job setting up his routes. I think it's a tough job for Antonio Cromartie to hang with this guy. Darrelle Revis has had problems in the past covering Stevie Johnson.
Third catch, 58 yards at all for Johnson. Actually, when you look at Buffalo the last few years, they haven't been a good team before Thanksgiving either.
No, they have not, but I was trying to be nice, Marv.
You were. I know. Sorry. Got off to the good start last season. Spiller. And he is bottled up. Garrett McIntyre on the stop. 3-yard pickup. Let's get back to JB and Boomer.
All right, take a look at what's happening with Detroit.
Well, the Giants are hoping that Detroit can make a game out of it and win it ultimately, and right now Detroit's coming back. 11-yard touchdown pass to Heller. That gets it 2017. Hey, Rich, Matthew Stafford has attempted 714 passes this season.
Chicago needs to win for postseason hopes. Marv and Rich.
Guys, that's all they can do is throw the football. They can't run it, and they've lost 7 straight. I don't know about the Lions.
Here is Spiller bouncing it to the outside. Grabbed from behind by LaRon Landry.
Well, you think about C.J. Spiller and what he was able to do week 1 against the Jets. He averaged over 12 yards a carry, 169 yards on 14 carries. He did most of it in the second half.
And that was a career best. Just picked up 4, setting up a 3rd down and 3. This is the 11th play of this drive that began back at their 11. 3.5 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 4 wide receivers on the field for Buffalo. 3rd down and 3. Fitzpatrick being chased. Fitzpatrick throws it away. Brad Smith had an opportunity along the sideline. Ron Landry putting the pressure on.
Just watch Stevie Johnson, how quick he is off the line of scrimmage. But you've got to sell the route. You've got to take another step or 2 to get some separation. He runs those one-step slants. He'd be better pushing forward another step or 2 to really get Antonio Cromartie turned. Made that very difficult for Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Well, a 4th and 3. There was some booing in this Buffalo crowd, but no question about this move as Ryan Lindell comes on. But it's a 50-yard attempt, his career-long 56 back in 2009, and this one is no good. And the booing continues here in Buffalo following the miss by Lindell. Following the 50-yard field goal attempt by Ryan Lindell, only his 2nd missed field goal of the season. He'd been 21 of 22. Jets take over at their 40-yard line. Powell in the backfield. Sanchez steps up and lost the ball. Recovered by Buffalo. And the Jet miscues continue. The Bills get it back.
Well, Mark Sanchez trying to get this one down the field. It takes a while. I think you see Spencer Johnson comes in there. He gets that right hand in there and knocks it out. And then there's a big pile to get the football. And I think Nigel Bradham comes up with it, the rookie. Mark was holding that, took the extra hits trying to throw that one down the field, because it took too long to develop. And you look at that, 16 fumbles lost this season, the most in the NFL. And again, turnovers continue to plague the New York Jets.
And you mentioned Nigel Bradham, the strong side linebacker, who has had a very good rookie year out of Florida State, and able to come up with that loose ball. Jets' 2nd turnover of the game. 1st and 10 for Buffalo at the Jet 35. Spiller looking for running room, could not. We're set for another update. Let's go to JB and Boomer.
Marvin Rich, take a look at this.
And the magic continues in Indianapolis. Texans take a 16-14 lead. Here comes DJ Karim after a Texan field goal. He goes 101 yards with a kickoff return. Indianapolis takes the lead 21-16. Remember, Houston is playing to win the 1st seed in the AFC in the playoffs.
Marv and Rich.
Yeah, what a magical season, guys. It's amazing what's happening there, and you just see how excited Chuck Pagano is to be back on the sidelines once again.
2nd down and 8, and the Spiller is taken down. And what a job by Bruce Arians, who took over, said all the right things.
And did all the right things.
Absolutely.
I think he deserves strong consideration for Coach of the Year. I really do. He stepped in and did an excellent job. You know, he got this team into the playoffs. It's a team that won 2 games the year before. And they did it with a lot of young players on offense. Rookie quarterback, a rookie running back, and Vic Ballard, 2 rookie tight ends. T.Y. Hilton playing a lot of snaps for them. It's an incredible job by Bruce Arians and the Colts.
Spiller splits wide to the left side for this 3rd down and 7. Here they come. Fitzpatrick took a hit, was able to complete a circus attempt by Johnson, but it's short of a 1st down.
Well, you hate to waste that kind of effort and catch by Stevie Johnson. Well, it does just get him a little bit closer into field goal range. But look at the concentration here by Stevie Johnson. What a great route. Now, if you put it on him,
Wow.
he's going to make the first down.
One-handed grab, picked up only 4, although it was a beautiful catch to watch. And now Ryan Lindell comes on again.
That's really the difference. Yeah.
Missed from 50 just moments ago. This is a 46-yard attempt. So on the season, he's 21 of 23. His previous miss from 37. And this one is off to the left. So Lindell misses again. Yes, from long range, but he's missed 2. And the score remains the Bills 14 and the Jets 9 in this final minute of the third quarter.
And you can see the wind. It's really swirling in that end zone. His other kick going in the same direction came up a little bit short. You really see it's moving kind of in his face and then from right to left. Not surprised he missed that one by the left upright. Well, it's not an easy place to kick here in Buffalo. You think about the success that Ryan Lindell has had this year. It's pretty impressive.
And a guy's been very successful over the years. He's had 13 game-winning field goals, including a 25-yard field goal in that overtime win at Arizona back in week 6. Powell is in the backfield, and Powell gets the call. Lost a yard on the play. Well, Thursday on CBS, catch the first new elementary of the year and see why it is TV's #1 news show. Thursday only, CBS.
Well, the Jets really dodged the bullet in that last series. I mean, they turned the football over. They give the Bills great field position. The defense is able to go out and get a stop and miss a field goal. What a break there for the Jets.
Edwards to the right, Curley to the left. Here's Sanchez in trouble. Able to avoid the trouble and completes just shy of the 40 to Bilal Powell. He felt the pressure from Kyle Williams, was able to avoid him, and that is the end of the third. Buffalo in front. We'll be back here after a message and a word from your local station. On to the fourth quarter here in Buffalo. As you look at the line score, the 2 touchdowns scored by the Bills. Brian Scott on the interception, ran it in from 20 yards out, and the pass and run from Fitzpatrick to Spiller for 66 yards. 3rd down and 7. Aaron Williams left corner
Holding
on the coverage.
Offense, number 68. Penalties decline. 4th down.
It's called on the left guard, Matt Slauson.
Well, you watch Slauson, he's working inside. Then he's late peeling off for Kyle Williams there. You're going to see the takedown. Got his eyes down inside. Doesn't feel Kyle Williams wrapping around a little stunt.
Justin Rogers is back for this punt from Robert Malone. And Rogers lets it carry into the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20, and that'll go down as a 61-yard punt. Buffalo taking over at their 20-yard line. They have a 14-9 lead on the Jets, and this the finale for both these teams. Buffalo 5-10, Jets at 6-9. Stevie Johnson getting into position, moving to the far side as Fitzpatrick looks that way and fires one deep. It is caught beautifully by Stevie Johnson. Covered by Darren Walls, the second-year man for Notre Dame, and that's a 37-yard pass play.
He's going to run a little out and up. He sells it. Look, he even looks back to the quarterback, and Walls is full. But watch this catch and concentration by Stevie Johnson. I mean, he has made some wonderful catches here today. And, of course, you see Ryan Fitzpatrick. They're going to tack on another 15 for Muhammad Wilkerson for roughing the passer. You got to sit in there with the tough jaws sometimes, and that's just what Ryan Fitzpatrick did.
So the ball is placed at the 28. Stevie Johnson, first player in Buffalo team history. 3 straight seasons of 1,000 yards or more receiving.
And I was fascinated. I really felt like Andre Reed would have been one of those guys to do that, but he didn't.
5 catches today for 99 yards. This is Brad Smith working his way to the 20-yard line. David Harris coming up to make the tackle. Picked up 9.
Think about the changes they've had offensively. They lose David Nelson earlier in the year, and actually week 1 we did that game, Marv, and then you got Donald Jones who's been out, and they lose Scott Chandler last week. This is really where they could use Scott Chandler. He's such a good tight end, and he's got that big size, and he's been so effective in this part of the field, working in the middle of the field. So it's really changed up what they've had to do offensively without 3 of their better playmakers.
Bill's going with Lee Smith and Doran Dickerson as tight ends. Spiller lost a yard, so he's shy of the first down.
You see C.J. Spiller running through a lot more arm tackles. Talk about him making the first defender miss, but Jets have actually done a pretty decent job. You look at Spiller's numbers today, Marv, 17 carries, just 41 yards.
Spiller coming in, averaging 6.5 yards per carry to lead the NFL in that department. Plus 41 receptions. Terrific all-around season for Spiller. Fitzpatrick with a bullet. First down for Buffalo. C.J. Spiller making the catch, stepping out of bounds. Picked up 7.
Well, you have to account for the running backs in the passing game when you play a team like Buffalo. I mean, if it was early in the year, it was Fred Jackson. Now it's more C.J. Spiller, just a little simple flat route. They've got 75 catches between the two. And Fitzpatrick, when it's not there, he looks downfield. He often brings his eyes right back inside to find those backs lined up against linebackers and safeties.
And Fitzpatrick now 10 of 22, 209 yards. He's come on after the slow start. First down play. Able to connect. T.J. Graham gets inside the 10, met by Kyle Wilson. He picked up 5. T.J. Graham in the starting lineup because of those injuries that you just mentioned to Donald Jones and David Nelson. Graham, a rookie from North Carolina State, sets up a second down and 5.
And that's tough on a quarterback. You've got Lee Smith in there, T.J. Graham. We've got Brad Smith. We've seen a lot of Ruvel Martin, a lot of players, Doran Dickerson, players that weren't playing a lot of snaps to start the season and now have become starters because of the injury situation.
For Graham, his first catch of the day. Spiller to the outside, looks to bounce it, keeps going. He's at the marker. And we'll see where they spot it. Demario Davis able to make the hit.
Well, even when you feel like you've got the edge set, you're just going to watch the safety up top, Eric Smith. He feels he's got the edge set, but it's the speed that just takes your breath away. I mean, you got to be able to contain him. Like you can't allow this guy to get out on the edge of a defense.
About a yard short of a first down. It'll be third down, and a yard. And they go to the Wildcat. Brad Smith has come on. The one-time Jet who ran the Wildcats so well as a member of the Jets takes it, moves forward, and he's in. Touchdown, Buffalo.
How ironic is that? There's Brad Smith, who had a lot of success, Marv, in the Wildcat for the Jets. Now giving the Jets a taste of their own medicine. Got Ryan Fitzpatrick flanked out wide. He just run a little direct snap to Brad Smith. He just takes it right up the middle.
And a beautiful block by the center, Eric Wood. Brad Smith spent 5 years as a member of the Jets. Ryan Lindell puts it through 7 plays, 80 yards in 3 minutes and 54 seconds. This is what set it up. A pass to Stevie Johnson. And it led to this. The former Jet takes it home. As a member of the Jets, Brad Smith averaged nearly 8 yards a carry, primarily out of the Wildcat. They have not used it as frequently here in Buffalo as they have in the past.
Ironically, though, Marv, they've had the Jets had more success with the Wildcat with Brad Smith than they have with Tim Tebow.
Oh, not even close. As McKnight returns it across the 20-yard line, he's spun around and taken down. Marcus easily makes the stop. Here's another look. Brad Smith straight ahead and adds to that Buffalo lead. Back in Buffalo, Marv Albert, Rich Gannon. Happy New Year from all of us at CBS Sports. Has not been a happy day for the New York Jets, as Sanchez couldn't find anyone downfield and then is incomplete. Intended for the fullback, Lex Hilliard. And again, a long day, a day of miscues for the Jets.
Yeah, right, Marv. As you said, just unfortunately another sloppy day. Brian Scott gets it started with an interception of Sanchez in the first quarter. They get a blocked field goal, come away at no points by Marcel Darius. The guy losing his composure, Braylon Edwards, he gets flagged for a personal foul. More ball security issues for Mark Sanchez in the pocket. They just wasted too many opportunities here today against the Bills.
Second down and 10 from the 21. Sanchez able to get it to the tight end, Cumberland. Kind of a soft pass handled by Cumberland. Brian Scott up to make the stop. A gain of 12 and a first down.
Yeah, Brian Scott, he thought he can't understand how they made that completion. He was right there. You see the Jets trying to change things up here now with a little over 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, trying to go some no huddle.
But the Jets without a touchdown. They're scoring on 3 field goals by Nick Folk. After the pump, Sanchez off the mark. He was looking for Edwards at midfield. Aaron Williams providing the coverage.
Really a tale of two halves when you look at what the Jets were able to do in the first half. Over 200 yards, and yet they came away with just a couple field goals. And then you look at it in the second half, they've not been able to get anything going. They've really struggled on first down.
Inside handoff for Powell. We've seen more of Bilal Powell than Sean Green in this second half. That's a gain of 7. Powell, a second-year man out of Louisville, averaging just under 4 yards a carry. Third down and 3. And that is caught for a first down. Edwards on the reception, his 4th of the day.
Oh, a pretty nice catch here by Braylon Edwards. He's going to go down and scoop this one up. Look at that. Got those big, strong hands.
Picked up 12. Sanchez, and it's intercepted. A diving play by George Wilson, the strong safety. So once again, Mark Sanchez is picked off, facing pressure from Brian Scott. So the Bills will take over. Wilson coming up with his first pick of the season.
Well, he's trying to get his tight end down the middle of the field, and you're going to see Wilson undercut this, and actually looks like this might get deflected a little bit. Right as he's letting it go, you can see Scott come in there and get a hand on it. Just enough. Look, see how it knocks the ball down? Really nice play there by Wilson. I think he gets both hands underneath it.
It has been a strong game for Brian Scott, and they will review whether Wilson was able to come up with that interception cleanly.
After review, the pass hit the ground and is incomplete. It'll be New York's ball, 2nd and 10 on the 48-yard line. Please set the game clock to 9 minutes, 9 seconds.
All turnovers are reviewable, so they checked it out. You had to take a real close look to pick this up.
Yeah, it took us a while up here in the booth to try and figure it out. We had to blow it up. You're going to watch the ball actually move a little bit when it hits the ground, and that tells you that, watch it bounce back up. I think that's a really good indication there that ball hit the ground.
So the Jets maintain possession. Sanchez looking at a 2nd and 10. And he throws sideline for Edwards. Almost intercepted. Aaron Williams had a shot at it.
Boy, they're picking on Aaron Williams, aren't they? And a better throw there by Mark Sanchez gets it done. You know, Braylon Edwards is going to go right by him now. Look, see, he has to slow down and try and make another circus catch. Throw it out in front. Give the big receiver a chance to go up and make a play.
And Edwards, when you say big receiver, goes 6'3", about 215. Has 3-4 inches on Aaron Williams. 3rd and 10 from midfield. This time Sanchez deep to the far side. Intended for Jordan White. And the flag is down.
Holding. Offense number 60. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Well, it's on to Brickashaw Ferguson. Jets were looking for an interference the other way, but it's called on the Jets, bringing up a 4th and 10 with just under 9 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter. So Jairus Byrd is back at his 10 for this Robert Malone punt. Malone's 4th punt of the day. Byrd lets it go. And it does carry in, so they'll bring it out to the 20, a 48-yard punt. And we'll step away, set for an update. JB and Boomer.
A young career best for Andrew Luck.
I'll tell you, on 3rd and 23, guys, take a look at this throw right down the seam, the numbers. This is a 70-yard TD pass to T.Y. Hilton. They were down 16-14 early in the second half. They roared back 2 touchdowns. Matt Schaub just threw another interception in the end zone. It's 28-16 Indianapolis. Houston wins. They get the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs.
Marv and Rich.
All right, guys, Buffalo with a 21-9 lead here on the Jets as the Bills go back to work at their 20-yard line.
Hey, run!
This is C.J. Spiller breaking tackles. Had a shot to go the distance, taken down by Jeremiah Bell, but picks up the 1st down on a 12-yard run.
Well, a little counter play, and they come around. You're going to see they kick this thing out. Nice block, even by Brad Smith. The offensive line for Buffalo has really done a nice job. You see Cordy Glenn there, and Levitri and Wood. And Sam Young has done a nice job over there on the right side. They've really played well.
Spiller has carried 19 times for 57 yards. First down for Fitzpatrick and the Bills. He takes a shot, and that pass went off one of the linemen. Muhammad Wilkerson was right on Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Muhammad Wilkerson has actually had a nice season for the Jets. We've seen him get to Ryan Fitzpatrick a couple times today. You see him working there against the rookie Cordy Glenn on the left side. Making sure there's not, so it's amazing now. You watch these guys tackle a quarterback and they look to make sure that they didn't do something wrong. Wish they played that way when I was playing.
He's saying they weren't as gentle.
Oh, they were violent.
Spiller looking to make the turn, taken out by Jeremiah Bell. Well, this is a Buffalo franchise that has not made it to the playoffs in 13 straight years since 1999. They've had only 1 winning season since that time. So, in effect, Rich, you have been in the playoffs more recently than the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that's not good. And, like you said, Marv, a lot of losing seasons, 8 consecutive losing seasons. And it's not like this team didn't go out and spend some money. I mean, they had a lot of optimism coming out of the preseason. And they went and spent all that money in free agency. They felt like they had a good draft, and it just never got it going this season.
On 3rd and 9, Fitzpatrick's pass intended for Graham, not able to hang on, covered by Walls. Darren Walls, up from the practice squad in his second season out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, just enough there at the end. See, he's got that right arm bar there, and he's not allowing Stevie Johnson to cross his face. Or actually, that's Graham. As you said, TJ Graham. They've got some guys that can get up and go, TJ Graham and Stevie Johnson.
So the punting unit is back. Sean Powell inside his 20, punting for the 5th time with Jeremy Curley back deep. And again, the fair catch by Curley. Coming up next, Dolphins and the Patriots, or the Chiefs taking on the Broncos. Check your local listings. More people watch the NFL on CBS than on any other network.
Now you think about what would happen if Houston loses and Denver wins, and Denver's going to win today. They've got Kansas City. Kansas City's awful this year. Denver will have won 10 straight games, Mark, into the postseason. You don't want to have to go to Denver in the postseason and play against Peyton Manning, and who would have the #1 seed. And of course, that defense has played well. They've been a top 5 defense all year under Jack Del Rio.
And what a season for Peyton Manning.
Oh, magical, really.
Sanchez in trouble and throws sideline, looking to throw it away.
Manning's got a chance, Marv, to be the MVP and also the comeback player of the year. Think about it, 3 or 4 surgeries. You just get a look at Mark Sanchez running around here a little bit, trying to find an open receiver. You know, you look at the lack of production they've had throwing the ball to wide receivers. It's been a big story all year. Just fewest receiving yards per game by wide receivers. Just can't get the ball on the perimeter. It's been a real struggle for this offense.
Well, as we talked about earlier, once Santonio Holmes went down, and you had the rookie Stephen Hill. He had some drop problems that started the year. Jordan White makes his first NFL catch, rookie from Western Michigan.
Oh, there it is, 118 yards. You look at that and you say, you know, how do you win that way? Teams like San Francisco have found a way in Houston. Now, the reason why is they run the ball so well in those two cities, and they've got tight ends and backs that are very involved in the passing game and great defenses.
Sanchez able to stand in there for quite some time, and pass intended for Edwards.
There's just no timing and rhythm right now in the passing game. You know, you've got guys that just are new to the team the last 3 weeks, and they're playing a lot of snaps, and they're not always going to be in the right place, not at the right depth, and you can see the uncertainty. And uncertainty is a scary thing for a quarterback. You know, you're throwing blind. You see the frustration there from Mark Sanchez. You think they're going to be in the right position, and that's what gets you. That's when you get yourself in trouble, when you're anticipating they're going to do the right thing, but you're not quite sure.
And you look at the tight end situation. Dustin Keller, one of the favorite receivers of Sanchez, who is in trouble again. And a nice catch is made. Catch by Curley at the near side, picked up 8. Spencer Johnson this time was chasing Mark Sanchez.
Well, they've got a big decision to make. We know about Mark Sanchez due to make over $8 million of guaranteed money next year. And of course, he's got, if they do release him before March 1st, you're talking about a $17 million cap hit. And talking to a lot of different personnel people around the league, most people seem to think that the Jets would be better served to cut bait with Mark Sanchez and go out and do what Seattle did. You know, they went out and signed Matt Flynn, and they drafted a quarterback in the 3rd round that turned out to be a pretty special player in Russell Wilson. But that's you've got to sell that to the owner, and that's a lot of money to eat in guaranteed contracts.
Jets come up just short. They'll go for it on 4th down, but there are several veteran quarterbacks that will be available.
Alex Smith is one of them. And, you know, you say, well, you know, Alex Smith may be perfect for the Jets. It takes care of the football. It doesn't turn it over.
Bilal Powell is stopped. Powell trying the right side, stopped by Alex Carrington. 3-year man from Arkansas State, the block field goal specialist. I will step away, set for an update. Here's JB with Boomer.
Detroit within inches now, Boom.
Yeah, they're making it interesting. Here comes Matthew Stafford. He's going to hit Ryan Rubisky for a 9-yard TD. 26-24, Bears still in the lead. Calvin Johnson, 36 yards shy of 2,000 on the year.
Back to Marv and Rich.
All right, as you see, the Bears clinch a playoff berth with a win and a Minnesota loss. The Bills take over with 5.5 left in this fourth quarter. C.J. Spiller trying to pick his way, and as he cuts back, he loses yardage, a loss of 2. Calvin Pace able to make the tackle. So getting back to the discussion, you mentioned Alex Smith, Matt Flynn, another guy, possibly, although he was beaten out, as it turns out, though he got the contract.
I think the price is right. Seattle would listen.
Looks like the Jets call for time. And there's another question. Are there guys who might be reluctant to come to play in New York with all the extra attention? I mean, some thrive on it. Others do not want to handle that.
Hey, if you're scared, just say so. I mean, I think it's a great situation. I think you've got a coach that can win. I think he's shown that they can win on defense. They want to run the football. They're going to get some. I believe they're going to go out and get some help for whichever quarterback plays for the Jets next year at wide receiver. You know, I think it's a great place to play. But I would tell you this: it's not a good time to be looking for a quarterback. It's not going to be a strong free agent class, and it's not a real strong draft when it comes to the quarterback position.
Spiller stopped, picked up a yard on the play. Garrett McIntyre on the tackle. Well, these two clubs met back in week 1. Kind of unusual. They play the first and then the 16th game of the season. And that was a resounding win for the Jets. Perhaps their best day of the year, with Sanchez throwing the 3 touchdown passes. Curley with the 68-yard punt return for a touchdown. Cromartie returning an interception for a TD. It was a 48-28 victory. Fitzpatrick guns it. Oh, the leaping catch is made. Stevie Johnson has had a terrific day. That's good for 11.
Well, he's going to run a little deep curl route. He's working on Antonio. Look at him push out. Nice job there at the top of the route, and he's made some great catches today, Marv, in traffic. Just get it in his area, he's going to come down with it.
6th reception, 111 yards for Johnson. So 79 catches on the season.
Boy, he loves to compete. I love watching Stevie Johnson play.
First down for Buffalo at the Jet 37. Spiller in the backfield. Spiller gets to the 35, met by Bart Scott. And here it is, week number 1. Just what I was talking about, as Mark Sanchez was right on target. This is Curley on the punt return for a touchdown. And the pick by Antonio Cromartie, and he takes it in.
Yeah, turnovers were a big story in that game. Buffalo didn't give themselves a chance.
Timeout is called by the Jets with 3:51 remaining in the season for two teams who had forgettable years. Buffalo at 5-10, and Jets at 6 up and 9 down. Now to Tashard Choice. Here's the running back. This is Choice. No gain out of the play. David Harris was right there. And the Jets take their final timeout. Well, Wednesday in prime time, JB, Chris Collinsworth, and Phil Simms will showcase America's favorite game with their own unique style inside the NFL Wednesday on Showtime.
Boy, in September, I never would have thought that both of these teams would have finished the season at 6-10. I mean, a real stunner when you look at what's happened in New York and Buffalo this year. And I think no graphic better sums it up really for these teams than the turnovers. Turnovers for the Jets and Bills have just been devastating. You lose the turnover battle each week, you don't give yourself a chance to win games.
And now here is Brad Smith. Back in as they go to the Wildcat. Smith will run it once again. Ran for a touchdown earlier. Finds the opening and gets inside the 20-yard line. And Buffalo Bill fans are saying, hey, why don't we use this more frequently
I
this
know
year?
it. He does a really nice job. He's going to run up inside. He's patient. He just kind of goes with the flow. And then right at the last, he gets caught up in the wash, and then you're going to watch him bounce outside. This guy was a really good athlete at the University of Missouri. Quarterback, receiver, he did it all in special teams. Great versatility. I'm surprised that the Bills haven't utilized him more in their offense this season.
16-yard gain, although Brad Smith did have a series of injuries earlier in the year. Choice is the running back. And Choice with a short pickup, stopped by David Harris. As we come up on 2:45 remaining, the Buffalo Bills with a 21-9 lead. Unless there is a dramatic turn, the Bills will go to 6-10, stopping their 3-game losing streak, although it's a meaningless game, because this season for the Bills and the Jets is simply a bust, and you can expect much shuffling by both franchises. Spiller has returned. A little hesitation move as Spiller is stopped for no gain by Calvin Pace. And we're down to 2 minutes to play. Bills 21 and the Jets 9. Down to 2 minutes remaining in this 2012 season for the Bills and the Jets. 3rd down and 9 for Buffalo at the Jet 18. As Tashard Choice remains in the backfield. There's Choice weaving his way, but short of a first down. Kendrick Ellis making the stop. Choice goes for 5. And let's see, will they just run out the clock or kick the field goal?
I think they're going to run the clock down and take a timeout.
Buffalo with 2 timeouts left. Jets use their final timeout. I'd like to thank all the guys that made these telecasts possible. Just a terrific crew all season long.
Absolutely.
Our producer,
Best
Russ
in the
Schneiderman.
business.
Director, Andy Goldberg. Our spotter, Mike Bazemore. Statistician, Russ Lynn. And too many others to mention who worked so hard. Now, the Jets have won the last 6 games against Buffalo coming into today. The last Bills win over the Jets, October 2009. 5 interceptions thrown by Mark Sanchez, Ryan Fitzpatrick to Lee Evans, 37-yard touchdown, and then in overtime, Ryan Lindell with a 47-yard field goal to give the Bills a 16-13 win over the Jets, October 2009.
I remember that game. It was Mark Sanchez's rookie year. Still figuring out how to play the position. He had a little sit-down chat with Rex Ryan after that game. I think that may have been the game where they instituted that red, green, and yellow, where they called the plays, and if it was a red, you had to be very, 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 very careful, as opposed to green, where you could take a shot and cut it loose.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they did.
All right, 4th and 4, and coming up on a minute remaining. This is Choice for the touchdown. Tashard Choice, taking advantage of a big hole on the right side, goes from 13 yards out to extend to a 27-9 lead.
Yeah, and the run defense really hasn't up to Rex standards this year. They're just 27th in run defense, and that's what the Bills do best right now, is they just run the ball downhill. You're going to see Choice. Nice double at the point of attack. You see the right guard and right tackle there, and before you know it, Choice is up on the second level.
Lindell for the extra point. Tashard Choice with his first touchdown of the season. 10 plays, 47 yards in 4.5 minutes.
Well, a really nice job there by Craig Urbick and Sam Young, the right guard tackle. And that was too easy for Choice.
I started to talk once again about the anticipated shuffling for both these teams. When you look at Buffalo, there's a lot of talk regarding the general manager, Buddy Nix, and the head coach, Chan Gailey, and his staff, and quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. And the Jets, who finish at 6-10, losing their last 3 for the last 6, as the soap opera atmosphere carried from training camp in July to this 30th day of December, and a host of questions concerning the head coach Rex Ryan, although I know your feeling is, and I would agree with you, that with 2 years left on the contract, I think he will stay.
I think he wants to stay. I think they've got to make some changes. I think he's got to make some changes to his staff, Marv. I think he's got to look at what's going on the offensive side of the ball. It's interesting, Mike Tannenbaum, the general manager, has 2 years left. So I think Woody Johnson, the owner's got some tough decisions to make. And he cannot be happy with what's taken place the last 2 seasons. 14 and 18. 14 and 18 in the last 2 seasons under Rex Ryan.
A little pooch kick on the kickoff, and was it played cleanly? It's Nick Bellore.
Yeah, he caught it clean. He got hit. The ball came out.
It's a linebacker playing as one of the up men, Nick Bellore, shaken up as the Colts have defeated the Texans.
Wow, big win for the Colts. And now if you look at if New England and Denver are able to win, the Houston Texans will be the 3 seed and wind up playing on Wild Card Weekend. That was a tough loss and a bad loss for Houston.
So a minute 4 remaining in this one. And obviously an emotional victory for the Colts, with head coach Chuck Pagano making his return for today's game. A handoff to Powell. Bills have scored the last 21 points for this 28-9 lead. You mentioned General Manager Mike Tannenbaum, and there's been some speculation that a personnel guy could be added. How would Mike Tannenbaum feel about that?
Well, he would like it. He'd probably be reassigned to take care of contracts or something, but I don't know. It's a mess right now. It's unfortunate because these are good people. And there's a lot of teams, not just the Bills and the Jets. We look at what's going to happen in Kansas City and some other places around the league. Tomorrow is going to be a messy day, I think, and a tough day for some of these owners. Tough decisions to make.
Day that is often referred to around the league as Black Monday, because teams want to make those decisions early, get it out of the way. Sanchez's pass is batted down by Darius.
We could see some tonight. I mean, you want to get out in front of it. You want to start the interview process immediately, and you want to start looking at some of these hot college coaches out there that may become available and that you may want to bring in an interview. Whatever they do in New York, they've got to get the quarterback situation straightened out as you look at Tim Tebow. They've got to find somebody that can come in there and give them some production and consistency. All the teams we talk about in January have that guy. And right now, the Jets don't have that guy.
Sanchez finds the tight end Cumberland. And that will do it. Rich, I've thoroughly enjoyed working this season with you once again.
It's been a blast.
Marv Albert, Rich Gannon saying so long from Buffalo. It's all over for the Jets and the Bills. And now time for the NFL Today update presented by Farmers Insurance. Let's go to JB in our New York studio.